long nightmare of a season at Madison Square Garden comes to an end tonight. It's been a rough one with shutouts and lack of scoring and poor performances and I won't say bad effort, but just stuff that made the home crowd queasy. But it's all changed of late. A 7-game homestand, 1 game left. The Rangers are 5-1 on this latest stretch. There's a buzz about the team and energy. Finally, something that makes the home fans say, hey, I pay to watch this team. And to be honest, I'm going to miss them at Madison Square Garden now. But it took a long road to get here. And it comes to its conclusion against one of the best teams in the NHL, a team that just ended the longest playoff drought in professional sports in the U.S., the Buffalo Sabres, a team built on a lot of high draft picks, which they got because of a lot of bad play, but a team with some incredible young talent and a very intriguing unrestricted free agent at the end of the year that I'll argue the Rangers should probably stay away from. This is Rangers Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Todd Werwa. So thrilled to have you joining us. Please subscribe. We're going to get over 800 by the end of the regular season. I can feel it. We're really, really close. So tell every Ranger fan you know, or if you're watching that, just click the subscribe button. Just go ahead and do it. If you can't watch me on YouTube, you can also catch me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you like my content, and please feel free. Leave your thoughts on the season. I know you all want Drury fired. I don't think that's happening in this offseason, but who knows? Leave your questions, thoughts. Got a big offseason coming up with retooling versus rebuilding, some potential trade targets, a lot of guys potentially moving out ahead of the draft, a likely very high draft pick that hopefully will be kept instead of be part of a deal, and free agency is always ripe for surprises. So give me your thoughts. We're starting a real fun journey as we get closer to the end of the regular season. We go through the playoffs and some exciting time. Well, that's a lot of fill to tell you that the Rangers play the Buffalo Sabres tonight. The Sabres are, I don't want to say red hot, because it's not like they're it's not like they're 10-0 in their last 10. They're only 5-3-2. But they're playing great hockey. They're tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning atop the Atlantic Division. They're both at 102 points. Montreal's at 102 as well, but they're in that third position. Tampa gets the first spot because of more regulation wins. It's actually, they both have the same 39 regulation wins, Tampa and Buffalo. Tampa has the edge with 44 regulation and overtime wins, and Buffalo has 42. So it's already coming down to the second tiebreaker. It's going to go right down to the end. And remember, who plays Tampa Bay in the final game of the season in Tampa? Oh, right. That's the New York Rangers. So the Rangers, between playing spoiler and this newfound energy, they're going to play a role in who might get the 1 seed in the Atlantic and who might get home ice advantage, or who might even be bounced to third in the first round of the playoffs. So while the Rangers may not be going, they're an important part of this playoff chase in this wild and wacky East. Heck, the West is just as crazy. Obviously, the Central's what the Central is, but the pillow fight Pacific and the wild card in the West is equally as loony. The Mammoth beat the Oilers tonight in overtime, 6-5, goals galore. This playoff race is going to be nuts, and the Rangers play a big part of it. So, like I said, Rangers put this real home hot streak to the test. Should be nice on fan appreciation night. It could have been ugly, but thanks to the good vibes, it should be a fun time. Good vibes of late. It should be a fun time at the Garden as we send the Rangers off on their final 3-game road trip, final 3 regular season games of the season. Now, while you're watching Buffalo, ask yourself, is Alex Tuch a viable possibility as a Rangers signing? He's 29. He just reached 30 goals for the third time in the past 4 seasons. He's got 30 goals, 32 assists, 62 points, a .83 points per game pace and average. It's not bad. It's pretty good. He plays the PK. He plays the power play. Um, he's got a 51.72 expected goals for percentage. Pretty good. 5-on-5 work is pretty good. He's probably the biggest UFA that'll be out there after all the expected UFAs. Kirill Kaprizov, Jack Eichel, Connor McDavid, all signed new deals. Tuch is speedy. Tuch can score. But he's hitting free agency. He makes $4.7 million now. He'll definitely command way more than that, obviously. The question, if you could get him on 4 years, like 4 years, $8 million, that might be fine. That would be fine, but I don't think he's settling for 4 years. I think he wants 7, and there is no chance the Rangers in their retool are signing anybody to a 7-year deal like that right now, because you're signing him as he goes into his age 30 and 31, 32, all of that. You get the same problem that you've got with JT Miller and Mika Zibanejad and Vincent Trocheck. It just doesn't make sense with where you are as an organization. The goals, the speed, all of that is so enticing. But unless you're, signing him for something shorter term, he doesn't fit. And there's no way he's signing for something shorter. It's too bad, because I like what he offers. Like I said, the speed, the skill set, the versatility, can play center, can play wing. There's a lot that he does offer, but it's just not feasible. So Chris Drury, I know you want to make a big UFA splash and you're going to have all this cap room. Stay away from Alex Tuch unless you can get him to compromise. Unlikely. Maybe worth a shot. All right, let's talk some other huge names, because there have been some links, with Rangers with a variety of big names, and obviously there are some guys that are coming up on last couple of years of their contract. User Barry Glazer, I saw you mention they're going to sign Connor McDavid and Brady Tkachuk. Not so fast on McDavid. Let me just pin you on that. It was right. McDavid signed a 2-year deal with the Oilers that kicks in next year. So he's locked in there for 2 years, of course, has a no-move clause. If they get bounced in the first round, maybe, this year, maybe he's frustrated and wants out. But there's no way that's going to happen, because he basically, by signing a 2-year deal instead of another long-term deal, he gave Oilers management the ultimatum: get it done or I'm gone. But not, I'm gone before we get it done. So he's going nowhere. Now, Brady Tkachuk, a different possibility, as is, and maybe this is who you meant, Barry, Austin Matthews, as opposed to Connor McDavid. Both are interesting in terms of what is left on their contract. So Brady Tkachuk next year will be in year 6 of a 7-year deal. He's scored so far this year 22 goals, 54 points. He's 26 years old. He's big. He's fierce. He's every bit the personality you'd want in New York. The contract is an 8.21-ish hit on the salary cap. He does have a no-move clause, so he'd either have to force his hand a little bit to say, I'm not playing in Ottawa, get me out of here, I want to go to the Rangers, or the Rangers would probably, without that, have to come up with a real sweet deal that would probably involve the high first round pick this year, possibly next year, and a couple of top prospects, or, a first round, and Lafreniere, and maybe a prospect. It would take a lot to be able to prime, but things seem to be a little tense there. Obviously, the podcast he does with his brother, they had Dad on, and there was all sorts of talk about why he's not getting the amount of ice time he had been. There's all sorts of stuff, but they're in a decent spot to make the playoffs. I think some of the frustration may wane if they do make the playoffs. Let's see how this season plays out for them. Austin Matthews, the Rangers might really have been, let me rephrase that. The teams that want Austin Matthews may have really been hurt by the injury caused upon Matthews by the bad hit by Radko Gudas, the knee injury. I don't necessarily see the Leafs trading him this offseason because of the rehab situation, right? He's a damaged piece right now. Had he been healthy, finished out the string with a terribly constructed team in Toronto that also needs to retool, is looking for new management, probably a new coach, maybe there's more likelihood, but it could be done. It would be the same thing with Brady Tkachuk. He's 28. Next year will be year 3 of a 4-year deal. So, like Brady, would have 2 years. Essentially, if you trade for him this offseason, you'd get 2 years on him. He does have a no-move clause as well. 27 goals, 26 assists before he got hurt. Like I mentioned, he's 28, so a couple of years older than Brady Tkachuk. His hit is $13.25 million. I don't see it happening. Maybe it could next offseason, depending on how next year, health-wise, and the state of the Maple Leafs would be. But you may have an easier time prying Jason Robertson out of Dallas. We'll see. A lot of this speculation is happening, but here's what you have to tell yourself. Yes, I'm willing to give up what could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 pick in the NHL draft this year. What would likely be, could potentially be a fairly high pick, first-round pick in next year's draft, as well as a name and a prospect. Are you willing to do that for one of those guys? Will it solve all your problems, which no, it won't, because the Rangers have defensive issues and some other high-end talent issues in the, we'll say, middle six. Is it worth making that kind of move when it won't cure everything? And does it give you the guy long enough? You just have to assume you're going to sign him on the back end. If you're willing to go that route and really make this a retool, does that hurt you moving forward? Where does that leave you when the Zibanejads and the Millers truly age out? We'll see. That's where some of the rumors are. That's what it might take. We could go into more specific players, but Barry, you asked about could they get a big name this offseason? Those are a couple that they've been linked to in the rumor-wise of possibilities. We'll see as the Stanley Cup playoffs play out. Remember, teams that had big aspirations but get bounced early. Like, what if the Minnesota Wild, who thought, oh, they had it all, they got Quinn Hughes, and what if they lose first round to Dallas? They're going to want to run it back and add to that team, and they're going to want, something more. They might be more desperate to add it. Or a team like Dallas that flames out if they lose that series. Or if the Colorado Avalanche stunningly lose in the first round to, who knows, the Nashville Predators. I don't see it happening. Or if the Edmonton Oilers lose in the first round to Utah. Teams then get desperate when the heights they envision getting to, when they fall not just a little short, but well short of it. And strange things start happening around the draft, and picks and things become more valuable, and you feel like, oh, I was close, and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, my team's not close. We just got bounced early. We need to add. So it could happen. Some thoughts as we get closer and closer to the off season. Finally, big meetings going on. They started Tuesday of this week. Central Scouting should be a 5-day meeting getting set to unveil, well, at the end of the 5 days, they will unveil their final list of picking or, ranking order for the top North American skaters and goalies and the top international skaters and goalies. Obviously very influential. There are more than 8 different scouts that have scouted all these kids all around the world, and they come out with their rankings. Then everybody has, their own rankings and stuff like that. But Central Scouting will sort of be the first one out there with their final rankings and grades on each player. So they're meeting now, and we'll see where they go. One would assume Gavin McKenna is the top skater in North America. One would assume Ivar Stenberg is number one in international skaters. We will see where people place them on overall ranking, once you combine basically the list. But Central Scouting doesn't do that. They have North American and international. Sort of an interesting year. The top picks aren't centers. After those two guys, it's a bunch of defensemen, probably 4 defensemen in the mix. Chase Reed, one of them. There are a few in there. And then you get a couple of centers, Caleb Malhotra and Tynan Lawrence. Malhotra, familiar name, obviously Manny Malhotra's son. Tynan Lawrence wound up leaving USHL, made it to BU for part of the season and played well. Here's sort of, once you get the Central Scouting rankings at the end of this 5-day stretch, the next big thing is we're looking at prospects. April 22nd to May 2nd is the Under-18 Men's World Championship. That is in Slovakia. USA is in Group B with Sweden, Germany, Czechia, and Denmark. Canada's in Group A. There's every chance Tynan Lawrence plays for Team Canada. Every chance we're going to see a few of the top draft picks that fall into that category playing in that tournament. One last chance to really shine in front of the world, in front of the scouts and GMs and people who run organizations. So that's sort of the next step after Central Scouting names their rankings. USA, like I mentioned, the tournament starts April 22nd, but they do have pre-tourney games against Norway on the 16th and Finland on the 19th. I don't know if those 2 games will be on TV. I'm not sure yet, but the games of the U18 World Championship will be broadcast on NHL Network, so we'll all get a chance to watch some of the guys in the draft, maybe getting their last chance to show us a little something before we head to picks. And don't forget, that ends May 2nd, and then May 5th, I don't know if it's been officially announced, but I've seen enough insiders mention it. May 5th is going to be the draft lottery. So we'll get our sights on a bunch of these guys, and then we'll know exactly where the Rangers will be picking at the draft in Buffalo. That's all I've got. Oh, that's right. The draft's in Buffalo, and we play Buffalo tonight. Haha, see, it all ties together. It's amazing it works that way. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's finish this homestand with all the great vibes and emotions that we've seen over the last week or so in these last 6 games. Let's make it a 7-game banger and head out on the road feeling positive about where we are. As always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.